Right, so yeah, this is video number 2. It's slightly lower than the last one. I got told by my best friend that you couldn't see enough of me, just my mirror behind me. Do you remember the GDP? Yeah, I went to hand in the dreaded GDP. And it was absolutely tipping it down with rain. So I was sitting on the bus, and the lady in front of me had opened the window, and all these, flecks of water kept hitting me in the face, and they must have been really aggravating the person on the bus behind me as well, but I was just wiping them off really subtly, pretending I didn't notice, because I didn't want to be rude and ask for the window to be shut. And I thought that there was this really big chested lady behind me, trying to get off the bus, and she kept shoving her boobs into the back of my head, and I felt really embarrassed, so I was just looking down, and I just assumed she was getting off the bus. Until she pretty much plonked them on the top of my head. And I look up, and it turns out she's trying to shut the window in front of me, and I suddenly got really self-conscious, jumped up out of the seat, and I was like, shall I close it? And then I shut it, and there was this almighty bang, and everyone looked at me. Yeah, there's this crazy lady that gets on the bus, and she wears all these mad clothes. She always has flowers in her hair. Anyway, where I live, there's 2 bus routes, and one of them is really super long, and it goes round this roundabout and back down the street after it stops at this bus stop. And this woman, she's the only person I've ever seen get off at this bus stop, and she pushes the bell, she gets off, it goes round the roundabout, and by the time we go back down the road, she's always disappeared. And I always think to myself, next time I'm on the bus, I'm going to look out for her and see where she actually disappears to. But when she gets off the bus, I don't realise till I've gone back round the roundabout that she's disappeared. My friend Sanaz, hey Sanaz, she reckons she might be a ghost. She's like, yeah, maybe she's a ghost. And seriously, it's so freaky. If I was ever getting on that bus again, which I'm not, but I might do it for fun next year, I actually might film it and show you all. She just gets off the bus. Literally 2 minutes later, we're going down the road where she got off. All there is hedges. She probably just jumps into a hedge. I think she's crazy. She just looks mental. Yeah, so wow. My dad's picking me up this weekend. I don't even know if he's coming today or tomorrow, and I haven't even started packing yet. There's lots of things like this origami tulip. How on earth am I going to pack this without killing it? Oh god, I'm really worried that I'm going to lose / break everything. And I got some post yesterday, and I went down to the post today, and this woman in the office, she's new, and she only does 3 hours a day, and she was open 3 till 6 today, so I went down, and she wasn't even there. So now I'm going home at the weekend, and I'm going to have to let my friend pick up my post, and because she doesn't live in the same flat as me, they're going to be like, sorry, you can't pick up other people's mail. So I'm going to have to ring them up on Monday and be like, yeah, someone's coming downstairs in a minute to pick up some post. Can you give it to them, please? And then I'm going to have to somehow prove over the phone that I am the person I say I am. Oh, I'm really gutted. Maybe it's my beach break tickets. I really hope it's my beach break tickets. Yeah, I'm going to beach break in 2 weeks. Eee, super excitement. Yeah. Wow, I only really want to see Ed Sheeran, an example, because they're pretty mint. But yeah, hopefully it should be a laugh. I've never been to a festival before. God, the weather is just absolutely sweltering. All the flats downstairs, for some reason, they're so much hotter. I think my friend's flat, because she lives on the other side of the building, I do not want to be inside today. But if I go outside, I will not pack. So I've stayed in so that I can pack. Our vacuum cleaner, our Henry Hoover, has been stolen by the people opposite. They've had it for over a week. First of all, about 4 months ago, someone came in and they're like, hi, can we borrow your Hoover nozzle? Someone's stolen ours. Guy downstairs got drunk and ran off with their Hoover nozzle. They're getting charged. It's coming out of their deposit. So I was like, oh, don't really want to give it to you, but never mind. I gave it to them, got it back 2 weeks later. Literally, last week came in and they asked to borrow the entire vacuum cleaner. She knocked on the door and I was like, hi, you want our Hoover, don't you? And she was like, yeah, how do you know? And I was like, yeah, the only other time you've knocked on the door, you were after part of the vacuum cleaner. So I gave her the vacuum cleaner and she's like, oh, I promise I'll bring it straight back. And yeah, I just went over there a minute ago to rescue Henry, and he was right by the front door. lovely Alex answered, and I was like, "Hi, you've got our Hoover." And he opened the door a bit further, and there it was right next to him, and I was like, "Can I have it back, please?" And he just held the door open, so I was like, "Fine, I'll come in and get it." So I walked in, and then he just let the door go. So there I was, trying to drag the Hoover out, plus keep the door open, and like all this wire and cable was trailing everywhere, and I had the nozzle, and oh my god, it was horrendous. After like 5 minutes, I eventually dragged it back into my flat. I need to vacuum before I leave. There's been cumin next to my bed for like literally over a week. Drunken antics. The end of the exams came, and then I had a little party to celebrate that. And then I had to hand in GDP, but all these nightclubs, they're just doing so many, like, hey, it's the end of term, let's get drunk, we'll give you cheap drinks. Yeah, me and my friends have actually started going to Yo Sushi, and I was so hungover last week, and we got there, and it was breakfast for us, but it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was far too early for dinner, and we were just sat there like completely comatose, like, I had some Coke, fizzy drink, oh, so good when you're hungover. So there I was, like, with my Coke, just staring at all the little bowls of sushi going past. And because there was only like 10 of us in the restaurant, they shut off half of the conveyor belt. Half the restaurant didn't even have any conveyor belt action going on. The conveyor belt was moving, but there was this partition, and the bowls would go down, get to the partition, and they jump onto the next conveyor belt. And because I was so hungover, I wasn't really paying attention, and I was looking at my friend having this conversation, and I was suddenly like, oh my god, Charlotte, that bowl just jumped from one side of the conveyor belt to the other. And then I looked at it, and I actually noticed that there was a bit of bar that someone had stuck on the conveyor belt. So the conveyor belt keeps moving, the bowl ends up getting shoved, and eventually it goes pop and jumps over. It's the cutest thing. I was imagining that they were like little spaceships with Martians in, and they were like going down off into space. Yeah, pretty immature. I've got a clip actually, I'll put it at the end of this video, so funny. God, yeah, my first video, wow, I got like 95 views already, and I've got a feeling it's got something to do with the fact that part of the title was fat feet. Type in fat feet into YouTube, oh my god, there's like really disgusting pervy videos with like women taking their shoes off and wiping their sweaty socks on the camera and talking in really seductive tones. Yeah, about 2 hours after I uploaded the video, I had some random man inbox me saying, "Can you show your feet, please?" I was just like, ignore that one. Actually, talking of feet, oh god, I went out 2 nights ago, and I got into this club, and we went outside because my friend was smoking, and my shoe kept falling off, and I was getting really annoyed. I was wearing dolly shoes, and I was getting so annoyed. I was like, my shoe keeps falling off, and it turns out I had my shoe on upside down. It's from Primark, it's really cheap, and it's one of those, like, I don't know, not much material to it shoe. Anyway, I had it on like this. Can you see that? The top of my shoe is actually down there, and I spent the majority of the night with my toes up in here and my heel here, and it got to like 10 minutes after me taking my shoe off the floor every 2 minutes and putting it back on my foot until I suddenly realised that it was on backwards, and I couldn't believe it. It's the funniest thing in the world. Like, it's just ridiculous. I cut my hand as well. You know those cuts you get on your skin and they're just like on the crease, so I can't straighten my hand out because it's like my skin is opening. It's really horrible. I think it was glass. It's quite dangerous actually. Blah. It's a wolf. Yeah, check out my wolf. Ah. Oh gosh. Yeah, so it turns out the guy I'm living with next year, he doesn't like pandas, and they're like my most favourite animal ever. Well, one of, aside wolves. And turtles! I like turtles too. He randomly told my other flatmate a couple of days after I mentioned that they were my favourite animal, that he thinks they're the biggest waste of space that ever happened to the planet. So I messaged him and asked him why, and he was like, oh, because they're really lazy, and if it wasn't for pandas, China would be really rich, and because they can't harvest the bamboo. because the pandas will become extinct. Basically, he just thinks pandas are really lazy and they don't do anything except for sit around and eat bamboo. So yeah, I guess Chinese people really don't like pandas. That's why they keep giving pandas away. They give pandas as gifts to other countries. It started off with Japan. 2 pandas were given. I guess they want to make peace with the world. So country by country, they're slowly getting rid of their pandas. So yeah. I'm actually getting a panda kigu. Yeah, I've always wanted one. I dressed up as a panda for a party once, and I had these mouse ears on, and everybody thought I was a black and white mouse, and I was like, no, I'm a panda. And this girl came up to me and I was like, guess what I am? And I'm not a mouse. And she went, panda? And I was like, you're my new best friend. Yeah, my friend's got a Hello Kitty one. Hello Kitty! And she wants to get a kangaroo one. So she's going to get a kangaroo one, and I'm going to have a panda one, and my other friend has got this bunny one from Primark. Don't you just love Primark? They do these tiger onesies that all the lads wear around the city on fancy dress parties, and wow, I just love them so much. Yeah, so I'm going to show you my kigu when I get it, and yeah, it's going to be a panda, and it's going to be epic, and I'll show my flatmate next year that they are so much cooler than he thinks.